Dear friends, sometimes avoidants act like narcissists, but no one really talks about this. It's a truth people feel in their bones, but rarely dare to say out loud. You sense the coldness, the way they withdraw when you need them most, the silence that feels more like punishment than protection. And in those moments, the line between an avoidant and a narcissist blurs. You find yourself asking, are they trying to hurt me, or are they just afraid of being close? A philosopher once said, we turn away from others because they awaken the parts of ourselves we fear to face. That sentence captures the essence of avoidance. The avoidant doesn't run to punish you, they run because closeness threatens to expose their deepest insecurities. Yet to the one on the receiving end, this retreat feels indistinguishable from narcissistic cruelty. Both create the same emptiness, you're left alone with your pain. Research on human attachment adds another layer to this mystery. It shows that avoidants and narcissists share a hidden drive, the fear of being seen too clearly. One hides through silence and distance, the other through control and domination. But the result is the same: intimacy is blocked, vulnerability is denied, and the partner is left in confusion. As one thinker described it, different masks, same distance. And this is why so many relationships with avoidance feel unbearable. The behaviors overlap so closely that you start doubting your own judgment. Are they cold because they don't care, or because they care too much and don't know how to handle it? The truth is not simple. Today we're going to dig into this complexity and uncover 4 powerful reasons why avoidants sometimes act like narcissists. Please share your thoughts in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective on this. If this video connected with you, don't forget to hit the like button and make sure to subscribe for more insights like this every week. Defensiveness and blame shifting. Have you ever shared your heart with someone only to feel that the very words you spoke were turned against you? You wanted them to listen, to understand, but instead the blame was placed entirely on you. This is the moment when avoidants and narcissists look almost identical, and this is where the confusion begins to grow. Avoidants behave this way because whenever you bring something emotional to them, they instantly feel as though they're on trial. Even when you are not accusing them, their ears hear criticism, and the moment they feel criticized, their defenses go up. They say things like, "You're too sensitive," or "This is just your misunderstanding." In this way, they shift the focus away from the real issue and place the entire weight back on you. It is not about control for them, it is about fear, the fear of their own weakness being exposed. Narcissists do the very same thing but for a different reason. They never admit fault, because in their world responsibility equals weakness. Power means everything to them, and to protect that power, they flip the blame back on you. Where the avoidant's defensiveness grows out of fear, the narcissist's grows out of pride, and yet when you are the one experiencing it, the difference becomes invisible. As one thinker wrote, blame is the armor worn to protect a fragile soul. Whether that armor is forged by fear or by arrogance, it looks exactly the same from the outside. And what happens inside you in that moment? You feel invisible, your voice gets buried. You begin questioning yourself. Did I say something wrong? Am I asking for too much? Maybe it really is my fault. But the truth is, it isn't your fault at all. It is their defensive response that has twisted the moment. This is why the defensiveness of an avoidant feels so much like the manipulation of a narcissist. You open up your pain, but somehow you end up wearing the blame. The avoidant shifts responsibility not to punish you but to escape. The narcissist does it not to escape, but to maintain control. Different intentions, yet the outcome is identical. You are left feeling that your emotions don't matter, and that you are always the one in the wrong. The hardest part is that you cannot name it. If you say you're acting like a narcissist, your conscience whispers that you're being unfair, because deep down you know their motive isn't the same. But if you stay silent, you bury your own pain. That is the trap, the invisible confusion that no one else can see. And so whether defensiveness is born from the avoidant's fear or the narcissist's pride, the wound it leaves behind is the same. In that moment you cannot help but feel that the avoidant is treating you just like the narcissist. Emotional withdrawal. When avoidants see intimacy growing in a relationship, they often pull away. They go silent emotionally, reduce conversations, or suddenly create distance. To the partner, this looks exactly like indifference, as if they don't care at all. In those very moments, narcissists also behave in a strikingly similar way, though with a different intention. The narcissist uses silence or withdrawal as a weapon to punish you or to control you, but whatever the intention may be, the effect feels the same to the one experiencing it. This is where the real pain begins. Inside you start breaking down. You wonder, is this person treating me like a narcissist? For the avoidant, the goal is self-protection, but the outcome is the same. You feel abandoned, invisible, and unimportant. You try to talk, but they remain quiet. And that silence feels identical to the silent treatment of a narcissist. As one thinker wrote, when we receive no answer, we hear the loudest scream. The silence of the avoidant is a scream of fear, but from the outside it is almost impossible to tell whether the silence comes from fear or from superiority. To the one who loves them, it feels like intentional punishment. Psychological research also shows that when someone repeatedly withdraws, the partner's brain registers only one message: I don't matter. And this is the exact message a narcissist also delivers, even if the mechanics are different. That's why, in your heart, you begin to feel that the avoidant is no different from the narcissist. This feeling is deeply painful because you want to name it, but you cannot. You think, if I call them narcissistic, maybe I'm being unfair, but if I don't, I'm hiding my pain. It's a trap, a confusion that most people cannot put into words. Another reflection puts it like this: we don't break because of the action itself, but because of the silence that carries no explanation. That is the shared effect of both avoidants and narcissists. Both leave you in silence, and in that silence you feel your voice lose its meaning. So when the avoidant pulls back, we feel as though they are enacting the same script as the narcissist. Intellectually, we may know the intentions are different. One is driven by fear, the other by control, but the heart cannot tell the difference. The wound feels the same, and that is why the avoidance withdrawal creates the deepest confusion and the most unbearable pain in relationships. Fear of vulnerability. Avoidants and narcissists share one striking similarity: both are terrified of exposing their inner truth or vulnerability. For the avoidant, the fear is that they might become too dependent, that closeness could strip away their sense of safety and leave them powerless. For the narcissist, the fear is different. They dread appearing weak or imperfect in the eyes of others. And yet, despite the difference in motivation, their behaviors look almost identical. Avoidants hide their softer, tender side. When intimacy draws near, they retreat. They become distant, emotionally cold, or they brush off serious feelings with a laugh. This is their shield, their way of protecting themselves from the terror of being seen too deeply. Narcissists do the same, but not for protection. For them it is about preserving their ego. They mock vulnerability, turn tenderness into a joke, and refuse to acknowledge weakness. To them, admitting fragility is equal to defeat. To the partner watching this unfold, both responses feel the same: cruel, dismissive, and heartless. A philosopher once said, "To reveal the wound is to invite the knife again." This single thought captures the fear behind both patterns. The avoidant believes that if they reveal their feelings, they will be abandoned. The narcissist believes that if they reveal their feelings, they will be humiliated. But for you, the one who loves them, the reality is the same. You reach out for connection and are met with a wall. Research shows that when people fear vulnerability, they often disguise it behind indifference. If they feel pain, they say, "I don't care." If their heart is breaking, they cover it with sarcasm or anger. This defense is present in both avoidants and narcissists. The reasons differ, but the result is the same. You begin to feel that your emotional needs simply don't matter. Inside you find yourself asking, are they truly heartless or just afraid? But there is never a clear answer. This uncertainty leaves you even more invisible, trapped in doubt about your own worth. Another thinker once wrote, "What we refuse to reveal ends up controlling us the most," and that is exactly what happens here. Their refusal to show vulnerability takes control of the entire relationship. With an avoidant, intimacy never feels safe. With a narcissist, intimacy never feels genuine. In both cases, you are left doubting whether love is real. The most painful part is that you cannot name it. If you call it narcissism, it feels unjust, because you know fear is at play. If you dismiss it as mere avoidance, you silence your own pain, so you remain caught in the tension, unable to speak the truth, unable to find peace. And this is why the fear of vulnerability makes avoidants appear so much like narcissists. One hides in order to survive, the other hides in order to dominate. But the outcome is the same. You are left standing outside their walls, wondering why the person you love treats your emotions as if they don't matter at all. Need for control of space. Avoidants control relationships by keeping their distance. They create space, step back repeatedly, or close the emotional door just as you try to come closer. For them, this isn't about domination but about protection. They believe that the closer someone gets, the greater the risk of being hurt, so they choose distance over intimacy. But when you're in a relationship with them, that distance doesn't feel like protection, it feels like a command, as if the relationship can only ever operate on their terms. Narcissists also control, but in a very different way. Instead of pulling back, they push forward. They impose themselves, dictate when conversations will happen, in what tone, and what direction the relationship will take. For them, control equals power, and power is their deepest need. Yet the outcome in both cases is the same. You feel that your voice, your desires, and your needs don't matter. One philosopher once said, "He who draws the boundaries holds the power." The avoidant displays power by enforcing distance, while the narcissist displays it through dominance. But for you, standing on the receiving end, the effect is identical. One keeps you away, the other rules over you. In both cases, you feel like a minor character in your own relationship, with the real decisions always resting in someone else's hands. Psychological studies suggest that when a person fears closeness, they unconsciously turn space into a weapon. They say things like, "I just need time," or "I can't talk right now." These phrases may sound gentle, but repeated over and over, they create a pattern in which the other partner is silenced. Narcissists achieve the same result through demands. "This is how it will be," or "You'll do it my way." Both voices leave you with the same message: this relationship belongs to me, not us. And that's where the deepest pain lies. You start wondering, is this person just avoiding me, or are they trying to control me? But it feels impossible to know the difference. A strange pressure builds inside, a helplessness you can't shake. If you call it narcissism, it feels unfair, because part of you knows the avoidance intent is not about power, but about fear. But if you excuse it as mere avoidance, you end up burying your own pain. And it is this tension, this unspoken confusion, that tears you apart from within. Another thinker once said, "Power does not always come through noise, sometimes it is silence that commands the most." This is exactly how the avoidant controls: through silence, through distance. The narcissist controls loudly, with demands and orders. The avoidant controls quietly, with withdrawal. But to you, the partner, both forms of control feel the same. You are voiceless, excluded from shaping the relationship. This is why the avoidant's need for space can look so much like the narcissist's hunger for power. One creates space to escape, the other to dominate. But the result is the same. You feel as though you are being treated exactly the way a narcissist would treat you. And that is the most painful part. You can't clearly say it, and you can't easily explain it. At the end of it all, one truth becomes clear: avoidants and narcissists are not the same, but to the partner who loves them, they can feel painfully alike. The avoidant hides to survive, the narcissist hides to control, yet both leave you facing the same emptiness. You share your heart, and instead of being met with warmth, you meet silence, blame, distance, or domination. You are left wondering whether you are valued at all. The tragedy is not only in their behavior but in the confusion it creates inside you. You know the reasons differ. One acts from fear, the other from pride, but your heart can't feel the difference. Pain doesn't come labeled. Silence feels like punishment, blame feels like rejection, and distance feels like abandonment. And slowly, you begin to question yourself: am I too much? Am I the problem? As one reflection says, different masks, same distance. That is why so many people with avoidant partners feel as though they are trapped in the same cycle of pain that a narcissist would create. The mask may be fear or ego, but the effect is the same. Intimacy is blocked, and your voice is lost. Recognizing this is not about blaming, but about clarity. When you can name what is happening, you stop confusing their defenses with your worth, and that clarity is the first step toward healing and toward deciding what you truly deserve in love.